What's up, y'all? Episode 7 of the Simulacra podcast. I'm here with a new guest. Her name's Karina Ardon-Elias. Am I pronouncing that right?
Ardon-Elias.
Elias. Okay. I don't want to mess that up. A little bit
It
of my
spells no, you're good.
my Latino side is coming out there, you know what I'm saying? Um so yeah, most people that watch the podcast right now probably don't know you. So if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, let the people know.
Okay. Hello, people. My name is Karina Ardon-Elias. I am 18 and I am currently a college student at University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Okay. So we're just gonna start off because you're first year college student. But before
Mm.
before college, high school, you were very involved, good student, good student. You were in Stuco, class president. Uh, what was your high school experience like?
It was really good, actually. I feel like because I got so involved, I got so many friends so quick. And then just from there, making memories for 4 years, actually 2 years. I went to Rancho High School my first 2 years, and then my next 2 years, I went to College of Southern Nevada High School. They had the high school program, and so it was cool to see the difference between the high schools.
Was it hard to transition from high schools?
Definitely, like my sophomore year, I applied to the program. You have to apply, and if they accept you, you can go in. And I told myself I struggled so much with the decision of should I even try, So I did apply. I said, if I get in, that's a sign that I have to go. And I did. I did. And then after that, I was again back and forth in my mind because Rancho, I already had a set plan of like the classes I was going to take later on, like how far I need to get to like graduate with all of these things. I had my friends, I had clubs. So it was super hard to meet for me to let go of that idea and just like completely start over in an environment that like nobody really knows because as a high schooler you don't think you're
Yeah.
going to college junior year. So it
So you
was
graduated
definitely
early?
uh no. I graduated with my associate's degree.
Ooh. So that's like
Yes.
the thing that comes before bachelor's. I'm not very educated on
No,
on
yes.
college credits or anything.
You're right.
Um,
Yes.
so
It's the
did that
first two
make your
years of college,
that made your transition into college a lot easier?
sort of. Then COVID hit. And so it's
Yeah.
kind of different now. And also, UNLV is so much bigger than CSN, and definitely like online classes have been kicking my
So
butt.
you were obviously very involved, class president in high school, and you go into college, COVID hits, but you're in a sorority, you're still involved. So I don't think a lot of people even know what sororities or frats really are. So how has that been during COVID, and what do you guys do in general?
So sororities and frats. Sororities are for girls, fraternities are for boys.
Right, right.
Just putting that out there because a lot of people get that confused too. Um, and then we are just an organization of a bunch of girls, well, for sororities, a bunch of girls that they just become friends. It's right off the bat, you get 60 new friends, depending on how big the sorority is. And we do community service. It's mostly like a club. We do community service, we hang out, and we just grow those bonds that we have with each other.
And why are there so many different ones? What's the difference between any of them? Like, how does it change which one you join or whatever?
Honestly, I don't know how they got so many different sororities,
Okay.
but there
It's
are
a big
different
school,
ones.
so
That is true. Depending on what sorority you have, they have different philanthropies, and those are like the organization they do community service for. So my organization is Feeding Hunger, Alpha Gamma Delta, ooh, ooh, Feeding Hunger, but there's different sororities. There's one that does Alzheimer's, there's one that does breast cancer awareness. So just depending on your sorority. And then to get into a sorority, there's this thing called Brush Week. And so it's just a whole process of like you interacting with the different sororities and seeing where you fit best.
That definitely gives it a more positive energy, and I think
I know,
people
in movies, you see the party side of it. I mean, there is
yeah.
partying, but that's not all that there is.
And what's it like with COVID going on? It's not as easy to have that sort of sense of community. You can't actually see each other as
No,
much. So
it's
what's
so
online been
sad.
like? It's different for high school. I'm still in high school and online's honestly been pretty light. But college is a lot different. So let me know what that's been like.
So, for our sorority, all of our meetings have been online, and so it's super difficult to kind of have that connection or the connection you would expect with people that you don't know. You're meeting for the first time online, and that's all you ever see of them. Um, yeah, and it's really sad to hear, like, all of, like, "Oh, last year we did this, last year we did that. We had semi-formal, we had formal," you know? It's like, "Wow, we can't do that now with
Yeah.
COVID." But school-wise, online, let me just say, it's been a struggle. I don't know if anybody's with me on this one, but it has just it's been a struggle. I feel like online would be so much more easier, but it just maybe because I need a teacher there. I don't know. I'm a visual learner. I like to ask a lot of questions. So I don't know. It's just been really tough for me to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the same when you're not the same level of comfort uh when you're in
Definitely.
person. Another thing you're involved in, which is pretty cool, is LYLC, Latino Youth Leadership. What is it? It's not convention. I'm sorry. Latino Youth Leadership Conference. There we go. And that's tied to the university too, right?
Yes, the alumni program is. So LYLC is a conference that we hold each summer. Uh, Before COVID, we don't know how we're gonna go about that. Now, like that COVID is a thing. Before COVID, it would be a week at UNLV where students senior year is where they would apply, but we would accept juniors and sophomores as well. They would stay a week at UNLV in their dorms, and we would just go over a range of topics, mostly geared to getting them into higher education, but we talked about all sorts of things: immigration, therapy, how we're dealing with all of these issues that we're facing as Latinos. And it was super cool, super informative when I participated. So I decided the next year after that to help out.
I participated in the online version, which wasn't the same experience, but it definitely is interesting. I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily understand the struggle that a lot of minority groups have. And so it was also interesting to see like there were black kids there were white kids there. It's not just Hispanics
Yeah.
that
It's
do
not
the
just
conference.
limited, yes, to
Yeah.
Latinos. You can apply and we are more than happy to help you understand more of our culture and more of where we come from. Um, a lot of people just think that because Latinos in the name, it's only for Latinos, but that's not true. We
Yeah.
welcome
That's
everybody.
just what it's about. Um, and you are a first generation college student and you have immigrant parents. What's that like? Because what pushes you to go get higher education and go chase things that are bigger, uh, which
So,
our parents did not have?
yeah, definitely. My mom, I feel like she's like the biggest pusher support system that I have. She's always pushed me to, get involved in school, get those grades up. She made me believe that bees were bad when I was growing up. I was so scared. Let me just say, I was so scared of bringing home a bee to my mom. It was, I don't know, I was just terrified to bring that home. And so she always pushed me to like pursue higher education. Like that was always the plan after high school, college. Like there was no and ifs or buts.
Yeah.
And so I think she really pushed me because she didn't have the opportunity. She came over here when she was really young, and so she just started working right away, and she just wants to see, like, her she just wants me to not repeat her mistakes.
Right. And that's why I think LYFC is important because since a lot of the Latino youth now have like first generation immigrant parents, they don't sort of they don't know about like higher education or it's not a priority. Uh,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
important.
that it's definitely a whole different world to navigate. I have had so many difficulties and problems, like, arise just because I didn't know the information. It's super hard when you're first generation and you're faced with all of these things that you have to do that nobody told you that you had to do. FAFSA was a very big one. I'm glad that, like, LYLC went over it. I'm also glad that my school went over it. It was just sort of like, "What do I put in this line then?" Like, what goes here?
And it's interesting you bring that up because I had no idea what the FAFSA was, and obviously I'm going to university next year. And because of LYLC, I knew that it opened October 1st and it's on a first come, first served basis. But like
Mhm.
my high school's counselors didn't start sending out information meetings or anything like that until like a week after it was out. And it's like,
That
I
is
feel like a lot of
sad.
kids don't know about it. And the earlier you do it, the more aid you can
The
get. And it's crazy
Mhm.
how your high school doesn't even tell you, they should tell you a month prior and they don't. Uh,
My high school was really small because of CSN, the program, they just accepted certain students, and so that's why our counselor was on us, doing all of these forms and FAFSA as well. But yeah, I can definitely say when a counselor has 800 students to see,
yeah.
yeah, of course, they're not gonna remember, like, that one student, which is super sad. I feel like in this world, we're we're all just trying to figure out what we wanna do in our life and, like, where we wanna go. It's super necessary to have someone there supporting you and guiding you.
And when you go to a big school, a lot of kids are neglected. But
Yeah, and
that's
overlooked.
that's another thing. There's a certain pressure when you have to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life before you're 18. It's like I genuinely feel like there's no way. There's no way
Right.
you
Me
truly can figure it out.
Yeah,
You
how
can
are
have an
you gonna
idea, but
yeah, like, I mean, you can have passions, and, like, things you like right now, but how are you gonna know you want to do that for the rest of your life at
definitely. And
17?
there's some people that are like famous or rich or successful, whatever you want to call it, and they don't make it until they're in like their late 30s, 40s, or even 50s. So it's like why did it's like so expected to just go to university, graduate, and you're set. But it's more complicated than that.
And the
Uh,
world is so huge and there's so many things to do, so many things to learn. I
and it's
just feel like
developing so quickly.
yeah, so quickly. Your job that you might want is probably not even here because of how fast technology is moving. In 10 years, your job might be the one that is most demanded, but you still don't know about it because it doesn't exist, you know?
Right. Oh, for sure. Like we don't know how life is going to be in 10 years. And that's a question I haven't had that many guests or episodes, but that's a question I do ask people like what do they want to do like in terms of career or whatever, especially now since my class is applying and we have to pick majors and whatnot. And I did find it interesting that you said you don't know, but that's a good thing because you know what you like, so you're majoring that. We'll get into that in a second. But it's like you don't know what opportunities are going to open up in 4 years when you graduate. So it's like, why stress about
Exactly.
it now? Those doors are just going to open up with time, as everything that has happened in your life before. So it's like there's no point in stressing.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you're majoring in business, and when are you gonna you're doing a double major in communications?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so what sort of led you into that?
A very long road. And I still probably have a long road ahead. But in high school, I went to Rancho High School because they had a medical program. And I was so set on that. I wanted to become a pathologist. And then
Yeah.
I was asked, "Do you really see yourself doing that for the rest of your life? 50 years, 30 years, day in and day out. Like, you're gonna be in a laboratory for 8+ hours, you know?" And I
Right.
was like, "No, I don't see myself doing that. I kind of want to see the world, you know, go outside, have control of my time and what I want to do." So after that, my
That's
perspective
deep.
completely,
That's deep.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
my perspective completely changed because I was asked that question. And I realized that I've always had this love for fashion. I love fashion. Fashion, like my passion is fashion. Um, so I decided to pursue that and see where that would take me. I still really like fashion. I actually applied to a school in California for fashion, but then I saw how much it cost. And then I said, never mind. I'm gonna stay here at UNLV.
Yeah.
So the closest thing that UNLV has in that realm is business. And so I decided, why not? And I also realized along the way that I really like communicating. I really like social media. I really like just talking to people in general, getting to know someone. So I decided to add on communications. And hopefully, with that, with the classes and what I'm learning, I see if that's really where I want to go or if I change my mind.
And business is a pretty broad major,
Exactly.
so you could use it for fashion or anything else that might interest you in the future.
What really helped me was my dad had this friend, and that's all she would pressure me on. She's like, just get business. If you don't know what you want to do, as you said, business is so broad, you can go
Yeah,
anywhere with it. And so she really just said business. I'm like, business. Okay.
simple choice. But it's kind of a shame that I saw this graph where one of the lines was it was I think I might have even mentioned this in another episode, but one of the lines was private colleges and then another one was public. And public universities, their prices have gone up pretty steadily, but private universities have shot up. It's like ridiculous. It's not even affordable unless you have like a scholarship or you can afford it, of course. But that's a pretty limited group. And it sucks that for example, you can't go to that fashion school because it's so expensive and getting a scholarship is difficult too. Uh, and that shouldn't be that you have to be limited to a certain amount of options just because of like finance. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
Because
that is so true.
Nevada doesn't have like there are better universities out there,
Mhm.
but they're just not accessible to everyone. But today, today we have a new president elect, our man Joe Biden,
Yes,
and
Joe for the win.
yeah, on me. And he does talk about education, and Bernie Sanders was big on like tuition and whatnot and student loan debt. So hopefully, hopefully we see some changes in that.
Yeah, hopefully. And I feel like generally this is such a big win for us, like general minorities, as young people going into college, as like just learning life. It is so nice to see like a president that actually stands for unity, you know? I feel like Donald Trump, people might back him up with his policies.
Yeah,
And sure, like I'm an independent, and so I kind of see both sides of the coin and where it can go, you know?
yeah, yeah.
But it's just like he brought so much division into our country that I feel like this was just a step forward into healing what he divided.
That's interesting that you're an independent though, especially in a time that's so set on either left or right. Um,
Yeah, and a lot of people question me like, why are you not a Democrat? You know, like I feel like
right.
most of our generation is, but I truly see both sides. I even talked to a Donald Trump supporter for I'm gonna say like 2 hours and just seeing like his perspective and like why he was voting for Trump. And it was honestly very refreshing to, like, not see the side of Trump supporters where they're just screaming and they're, like, just hating. Like, some people generally have
That
they
image.
voted for him, yeah, because they liked him and
Yeah.
they just see things in a different perspective.
Yeah, it's difficult to see. I'm not one of those like fake news or like it's all the media, but like when you watch the news and you see Trump supporters, like all they show is sort of that hateful group.
Yeah,
But that's like really a minority of the people that vote for him, I think. Um,
yeah, I think
and
so too, yeah.
and as much as you don't understand why they think differently, they probably don't understand why you think differently.
And that's why it's
So
super important to just talk about it, to just
exactly,
sit down, have a conversation with them. You might change your perspective. I'm not saying like it's going to be totally a whole new side of you, but
exactly.
you can definitely see where they're coming from.
Yeah, they're always there's. It's not like for no reason, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, at the beginning, I didn't like either option, but I definitely would rather go with the option that doesn't incite hate
It's
or
lesser,
violence.
yeah, lesser
Exactly.
than the words of two.
Um,
Yes,
and at the end of the day, it's politics, and it's never really gonna be perfect or anything like that. And involving it with your friendships is just like so toxic. I think personally, like people that are like, if you voted for Trump, like unfollow me, don't be my
don't
friend.
follow
It's like
me.
I would be like, if you voted for Trump, follow me so we could talk about it or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what matters. I saw this thing the
Yeah,
other day that said people don't listen anymore; they just wait to talk. It's like, damn,
yeah,
that's kind of
definitely. That is so interesting that you bring that up because I saw something similar like a couple years ago, and that has also like changed my perspective. I became a new person. I just from there on, I just started to become more self-aware on like
mm,
how much I was speaking, how much I was actually listening to the other person. And I just that's something that got me into the communications major actually because from there I started talking to more people. I started listening to where they come from, their stories, their backgrounds, and it's honestly so insightful and so
mm.
I don't know, the love for it has come out.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
just love so much talking to people and just like getting to know them, getting to know their beliefs,
Even
getting
if
to
you
know.
disagree, like just
Yeah,
listening to things that are different is it refreshes you.
it
And
definitely
you can
does.
always learn from somebody. If you don't agree with that, you're just ignorant and cocky. You can always learn
Yes.
from somebody that thinks differently. But yeah, it's tough. Hopefully we have a lot more unity in the future. 'Cause I feel like seeing like everybody dance today and like the parties they're throwing and stuff. And is our COVID like cases gonna go up? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
But like it's a good moment, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are proud to be American. I guess. Uh, I don't know. It's complicated, but
It kind of brought joy to me because seeing how much joy it brought to them, because
mm,
honestly, they were probably feeling oppressed in some sort of way, with
sure.
everything being said in the media and like how Donald Trump has gone about saying things about people. And so if they generally felt scared, this election has been like a huge relief for them.
For sure. Um, especially minority groups, which surprisingly, Trump got more Latino votes this year than 2016. So it's like it's a relief that Biden won, but at the same time, it's kind of scary that more Latinos voted for him.
Yeah,
But again, you don't
that's true.
understand where they're coming from. So um, I feel like there's also this sort of like lack of pride in where you come from. Uh,
Definitely.
do you speak Spanish? I don't want to offend you.
Yes.
Okay, you
Yes.
do. Okay, good, good, good. Because I feel like there's a certain group of like Hispanic parents that are ashamed to teach their kids Spanish. And I don't, okay, let me talk about that. Talk about that.
That is definitely my parents. They did not wanna teach me Spanish because they're like, "We're in America, like, you're supposed to speak English." That's such a stigma that we have that,
Oh
like,
yeah.
America, English. So I only learned Spanish because my grandma taught me, but from there I have 3 younger brothers, and so from there, the Spanish kinda trickled down. Even right now, I kinda have, like, difficulties, like, knowing things in Spanish and just communicating in Spanish, but my other brother, he's okay, he can communicate. The one that goes after that, he can only speak it, he can't write it or read it, and then when after that, he can't do nothing.
Yeah.
He sometimes doesn't understand Spanish when we're talking to him, and that's honestly super sad. I kinda like,
It's
"No."
it's a shame that some Hispanic parents feel like that. Like, just because you're gonna learn like your home country's language doesn't mean you're not an American.
Right, and
If anything, you're
isn't that
more
supposed to be
American.
right, isn't that supposed to be, like, a prized possession when you can put it on your resume that you're bilingual
If
and you can get more
exactly,
jobs?
and it's all about
I
diversity.
Yeah, I
And
don't
like,
understand.
and if you're really an American, fact check me if anybody gets here. Fact check me, but I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's the Constitution or whatever, some official United States thing. We don't have like an official language. You know,
Yeah,
like for
we
example,
don't.
Switzerland is a country that has 4 official languages, like French, Italian, Swiss, and the Romanian one. Um, or some countries have English or Spanish, whatever. We don't have an official language. And living in Vegas, which is what people think is like we live in casinos, which we mentioned in the last episode. But it's not like that. It's like a very diverse city. When you go to school and you see like signs about like getting your license or whatever, when you go to the DMV, everything's in 2 languages. They have it in English and in
Mhm,
Spanish.
in Spanish.
So
Yeah.
it just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So
Maybe I feel like maybe some people are out there ashamed that they can only speak Spanish in a place where English is, like, predominantly
yeah, of
spoken,
course.
and so when they start learning English, people are like, "Well, why can't you speak it right, you know? Why do
Hmm.
you have an accent?" And so those things, those comments, that shutdown probably holds them back, because I remember my mom telling me so many stories of when she was working, and people were just honestly racist towards her, and
Yeah,
she probably got her notion of only speaking English from there.
yeah. Eh, yeah, I get that. My mom doesn't speak English either, only speaks Spanish. She understands English, like she watches all her TV and everything in English. Goes to the store, obviously has to speak English. I'm sorry, understand it, but she doesn't like speak it,
Mhm.
and it is difficult. And at the same time, it's that sort of like, I might. For her, it's the opposite. It's like I might as well not learn it. I guess I'm doing just fine right now, which I disagree with. I gotta help her out with that. But uh, yeah. Are you taking any business classes at UNLV right now?
Right now, I'm taking a business communications class. Um, Next semester is when I applied to a business, and that's where I get my business courses like started.
Okay. Okay. Um, what do you plan on doing after first 4 years of college, after getting your bachelor's?
So after getting my bachelor's, I hope to still explore the fashion world. I really still do love it, and I hope to learn more, maybe get into marketing. So learn more about social media, marketing, probably land an internship. The one thing I do want to do, and I feel like everybody knows this about me, like I want to travel the world. I want to go places. I
Yeah.
just want to see the whole world. That's like probably like my biggest goal in life, to just travel the world.
Uh, that's I like that. I like that. That's definitely really important, and I I feel like Americans in general are really individualistic and we forget that the rest of the world exists. So traveling is very powerful. But it's not something that you really like know when you're young, like how important traveling could be. So what has sort of led you to that conclusion that you want to travel?
The same thing as I was saying before, just talking to different people and where they come from, that just opened up my eyes to see, dang, there's other people out there, out there in the world that have different customs, different beliefs, different ways that they were raised, and just knowing that and learning more about where they come from, that can help open your perspective and open your mind to things that like you didn't see before.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is about, minus the
Exactly.
traveling. I mean, we got a rapper. We've had a rapper on here, high school student, college. It's crazy. Um, okay, so this one's a little bit more controversial because I feel like the recent feelings or opinions about it have been more negative. But you want to get more into marketing, and that's obviously necessary since you enjoy fashion. So, what are your feelings on social media right now, especially with everything that's coming out about like selling your information or all the negative things spread on there? What are your feelings about it? And yeah, just in general, what do you think about it?
So I can definitely talk about the side of how it influences us and how it's kind of taken a toll on our lives, especially as teenagers. What we see on social media is what we want and what becomes popular and what the crowd wants. And so
Hmm.
I can definitely see how the model, the cookie cutter perfect person, the people that we see on social media, it's probably all fake. It's probably all to
Yeah,
just get your attention
yeah.
and make you buy something. And I honestly think we should shut that down. We should show people for who they really are, because there's so much more to see, and just providing that unrealistic expectation of how your nose should be or how your face should look is very degrading to a person and can cause so many problems in how they see themselves.
So, how do you see that changing? Like a new platform, no more
Definitely.
filters.
For me personally, I kind of like unfollowed all of those people. I mean, you still have to follow the things that like brands like Adidas, Nike, they still show that, but they're becoming more diverse. They're definitely becoming more aware that people just want to see themselves on their
That's good.
screen.
Yeah,
And yeah, I definitely think that the media is moving into that direction of being more vulnerable in who we are. And yeah,
yeah. That's big. Definitely not just having different races, different people as models, and not
yes,
the ideal image that everyone expects.
little baby steps, but we're gonna get
For
there.
sure. Um, so traveling is big, and this might be, I guess, an unanswerable question, but fashion, there are certain places in the world that are more known for fashion. Like, shit, I don't know crap about fashion, but I guess like Milan or Paris,
Yes,
uh,
start naming them out.
definitely, or I don't know, even New York. I don't know. But do you see yourself like living in a different city or even country to do what you want?
Definitely. I definitely see myself out of Las Vegas, which pains my parents' hearts, but I kind
Yeah.
of just want to be free. I feel like we all want to be free in that sort of way. But yeah, I definitely see myself not staying here, maybe coming back,
Hmm.
but because fashion is so big in other places and
It's not
you need to know the trends of other places too.
exactly.
I think
It's
I
not the
definitely
place to
will.
be for that.
I mean, I can start it. I could be like Nevada Fashion Week, Las
Yeah, but
Vegas Fashion Week,
this place is good for like I don't know, like concerts, music, show business, obviously. Um,
hospitality. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. What is hospitality? I'm honestly not gonna lie. I don't know what the definition of it is, which sounds really ignorant. But
Well, technically, like, casinos, like, hospitality, like, when you accept someone in your house, like, for them to stay over if
okay.
they're from a different state, technically that in a larger scale. So casinos, how they accept different people into the casino and how they make them feel welcome, feel at home, but also have, like, that luxury feel.
Also, they could get money out of your pocket.
Yes, it's all a
Yeah.
scam.
Yeah. That's what kind of sucks about like consumerist society. Like everything becomes about just making money.
Yes,
Uh,
college. College is a scam. Don't know if
okay,
I
let's
should have said
let's get
that,
into that.
but
No, let's get into that. That's okay. That might sound bad that you said it as a college student, but like you're going with a purpose, you know? But I was actually literally like thinking about this earlier today, how I don't think it should be a bad thing to think that college isn't for everybody.
yes,
Um,
I because I was raised on that idea that, like, college was the next step for me, I didn't really think that there was another option of, like, just stopping at high school or even, like, trade school. Like, I didn't even think about that until different people started doing it, and I saw a couple of my friends go out and venture in their own, like, passions. I have a photographer friend, and he's doing super well, and he didn't go to college, and so when I saw that, I was kinda like, "Dang," like,
it's possible.
he really did that, and he definitely had the drive to do it, he definitely had the passion to do
Right.
it, so he definitely put in the work, and that paid off.
But yeah, it's just like this idea that you have to go to college to get a job. And that idea has almost like become a reality. Um,
Yeah,
like I- I'm obviously going to college, but it's like it's not as much for like job opportunities. It's more like just because I want to learn, and the podcast is the dream. So hopefully, like what I can learn gives me more for this
yes,
job or dream or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like some people, school is not for them, and some of the most successful people, like I mean, I guess this is really generic, but like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates literally dropped out. Uh,
but I
so
mean, those are the most successful stories and the people that we know the most, like, if they dropped out and they made it to that, I wonder
yeah,
if college really is needed.
yeah, and I feel like this isn't the best way to
Say it.
say it because it's not like in the end it's not about money. It's about like doing what you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy college, and for example, you'd rather do photography, sick, like do photography. But like it's that how do you say it's like college gives you like a millionaire mindset, but those other like successful people that dropped out have like a billionaire mindset.
Yes.
And, you know, not the
That's
best way
a
to
good
say
way
it
to
'cause
put it. No,
yeah,
yeah,
'cause
that's definitely a good way to put it.
like they're thinking way bigger than that. Um, yeah,
Yeah, we can talk about that too, like how college, like, sort of
almost
prepares you for
limits
that.
you.
Yeah, for that mindset that you're gonna be a worker of somebody else.
Exactly, like if you're not chasing your dreams, you're helping somebody else chase theirs.
Yes, they're
Uh,
technically giving you a piece of paper just for you to, like, go under someone and build someone's dream.
exactly, and it's also this idea that, and I feel like this has happened a lot with my parents. Um, it's interesting that we could talk about this because you know this is a much younger podcast, and most podcasts are like adults and everything already have their lives figured out. But like, it's almost like we're being taught like don't make mistakes. Like you go to college and everything is gonna be okay because then you'll have a good enough resume to get a job, and then everything like it's just like finding just this stability. And I feel like it's not about that.
Yeah.
And like life is
And
gonna have its
we
ups and downs anyways.
exactly, we sort of that mindset is so handed to us and so, like, desired that they
Mhm.
don't mention the negative stuff of how life can throw
It's
curveballs at you coronavirus, nobody saw this coming,
Facts.
and nobody was prepared, like, say the least, and so a bunch of jobs went out, and, like, that piece of paper didn't
Doesn't
really
matter
help
anymore.
you. Yeah,
Yeah. And and what is stability if you're doing something that doesn't make you happy? I feel like since we've created that sort of path, most people never find what makes them happy. Um, and I like that at the beginning you talked about like independence of time. That's super powerful because I mean, shit, like you're gonna need that if you want to travel, for example.
yeah,
Um, and just working a job that you're tied to doesn't give you that sort of independence that's gonna allow you to chase other things. So, but yeah, that's what happens when everything is just about money. I feel like if
yes.
like there's this YouTuber, which I guess might be a little weird because he's just like just this weird like mean YouTuber, but his H3H3, some people might know him, but he talks about how his now current wife used to live in Israel, and she made the crazy choice to move in with him in America. And there came a point where they had like $20 in their bank account, like dead broke, couldn't pay next month's rent, and they just started doing videos on YouTube, and now they're like crazy successful. And the guy, Ethan, his name's Ethan, he went to college. You know, he followed that path and still ended up, being broke. And there's another side of that where there's like student debt, where
Yes.
like medical students come out with like $300,000 that they got to pay off. It's like you're making more money, but you're also
But,
having to
yeah,
pay all this
obviously, you
stuff
have to pay
off.
that off, yeah, and
Exactly.
we're just taught that that's what makes us happy, that, like, following that path will make us happy, and then when people don't find happiness, that's when everything sort of, like, starts crumbling down, the
Facts.
illusion. Yeah.
But it's powerful that we talk about these things now because we're going to be the leaders of the next generation.
Period.
And
Yes.
like I genuinely feel like the future for us is really good because the younger people think like this. Uh
I
and it's
definitely
going to be a
agree.
lot different. Uh
I've told my mom so many times, "This is the generation that's gonna change the
Facts.
world."
And they don't believe us. That's just
Yeah,
crazy. They don't
you can
believe it.
just right, she takes it as a joke and, like, you can just feel it, like, you can just it's
Yeah,
gonna be big, we're
you
gonna
just
be big,
know.
bros. Yes,
And it's not even that hard to believe because the like how much the world has advanced in the last 200 years is more than
yeah,
in the 10,000 prior. So,
exactly.
yeah, it's like the world right now, like 2020, is hitting like rock bottom, dead ass. Like
Yes,
pandemic. I mean, and that's not it's not even that bad in America. Like there are countries like Venezuela where millions of people have left the country because they can't live there anymore. They don't have food, they don't have houses, they don't have anything. Um, or people from the Middle East that are immigrating to Europe. It's just like the world's going nuts right now. But I feel like there's a side of that eh, again, it can only get better.
yes,
Um,
and I love how our generation how you said, we have, like, this mentality and we're super compassionate, like,
Facts.
and yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah, there's also a side of it. This one maybe you disagree with. There's also a side of it that I think is annoying, and I might be calling out a lot of people, but um, younger people tend to lean more progressive. So obviously, I mean I'm so on this like gay rights, you know what I'm saying, like anti-racism, all this stuff. But I feel like we're falling into that same sort of like image where it's like saying Black Lives Matter. It's not like you actually feel it or you care about it. It's like you're just posting about it,
Mhm.
or like
Definitely bandwagon culture.
for sure. And I mean, this might be controversial. Holy shit! I mean, I don't care if people want to cancel me. I don't. I really don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not gonna stop doing this podcast. But like, there's way too many white people saying Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it's like it's this thing where like majorities want to take something and make it theirs, and I don't like that. Or like for example,
Yeah.
like especially like with transgender rights, for example, all for it. Like, bro, if you tell me your pronouns, I got you. I got you. I'll call you by whatever you want. But now everybody has like she, her, he, him in their bio. It's like we already knew. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It doesn't apply to you. Uh, I don't know. That's just how I look at it. I don't know if you have that in your bio. I just
No,
got
I don't.
social media back. I just got social media back, so I started seeing that, and it's like it's not your
Well,
movement. It's not your place. I don't know. That's it. Just weirds me out, I guess.
I can sort of see your perspective, but I also kind of have a different one. I feel like that definitely brings more awareness
Okay.
to
Yeah.
us. I feel like for me, I'm not black, but I definitely posted a lot. I probably annoyed my followers with how much I was posting about like the Black Lives Matter movement. But that's just because I have friends, that are
Hmm.
black that I
Are
don't want
affected.
them yeah, that I don't want to see them like this. I don't want their rights being taken away, police brutality just being towards them like that. Maybe it's just me as a person that really just affects me,
Hmm.
but I can definitely see how it became a trend so quickly. You can definitely see that when everybody started posting black squares, and then after 2 weeks, it died down. Nobody was posting about it, nobody was talking about it. That's the part
And
that does irritate me and does get me, like,
that's
"Dang
that's the
it."
thing about yeah. That's the thing about social media that like people think it's so easy. Like you just post a couple black squares and oh, police brutality is solved. But it's not. And people don't realize that like you can call your local officials. You can
Yeah,
write letters to like your state governments. Like you can do things. And I mean, of course, people did go on the streets, but then that went crazy because people just started like looting and stealing and
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, it's just like and merchandise about everything. Like I feel like a real movement can't be trendy. It can't be trendy because it loses all its like value. Um,
That is true because, like, you're going against the normality or what's supposed to be normal, you know? So it
mhm.
shouldn't be trending if it's going against what you think is normal, you know?
And, and that's another thing with like this is one thing I didn't like about the like Trump supporters, or at least some of them, is that it's like a trend. Like the flags in your room and the shirts and the hats. It's like it's a politician. They come and go. 4 years
Yeah.
or 8 years and they're out. But
Now
your
what are you
shirt's
gonna
still
do with
gonna
that?
exactly like your flag's still gonna be in your bedroom. Uh yeah,
Well, we might
that's
get
what
canceled for this.
no, and that's okay. Shit, I mean, I feel like the whole cancel culture shit is stupid. Like you only get canceled if you decide to get canceled by them. Like
Period. I've never
I don't know,
like
like I
heard of
wouldn't
that.
stop
Yeah.
if people started thinking like I'm a racist and shit, like I don't care. But that's just me, I guess. But there's another thing people care so much about what, like others think.
What other people think, yes, that is
Yeah,
true.
yeah, which is
I care sometimes. Which is well, I try not to care, but it's super hard when, everybody when you think everybody's judging you and you just sort of feel it, you know? But I have
you're a
tried not to
communications
and
major, so
wait, what was that?
you're a communications major, so you kind of have to like feel the audience or whatever, like people watching you and whatnot.
That is true, yeah. And I know definitely like for you to not care what other people think is when you love yourself, you know? You love your entire being.
Ooh,
You need to
okay,
know who you are so you can,
yeah,
stand up against those thoughts that pop in you because probably they're not even judging you. They're probably not even looking at you, but you're
and
like so into that mindset that you're like
Yeah,
judging me, what I'm wearing, what I'm doing. It's probably not true.
yeah. I mean, and especially if it's someone you don't know, they'll probably forget you in like the next 5 minutes.
Point 0.5 seconds, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
definitely.
Nobody. Um, but yeah, that's deep. Like not caring what others think is like the first step to starting to love yourself. And um, I feel like I talk about social media too much on these podcasts, but I guess it's something that I feel very strongly about. But our generation is the first one. Like I'm sure you've seen videos like that come out of high school classes from like the 80s or early 2000s, and like the vibe is so different. Like it just looks so cool. Um, and like we're the first generation that literally like
Grew up.
when did you get your first phone? Were you like 12, 13, middle
Yeah.
school? Exactly. And I don't know if
And now you see babies with, like, iPads and yeah,
yeah, yeah. And that's scary because it's like since it's so new, we don't know that much about it. Like we
yeah,
don't know about its negative effects. Like they're like the depression and anxiety in like teens is insane compared to before there were phones when you were 12. Um
I
anyways, what
think
I was gonna get into is that I feel like
okay, good.
that that has an effect on like finding who you are because all you're seeing is other people and comparing, and so it's
Yeah,
a lot harder to like find yourself in that
and
sense.
definitely you just want to, like, copy and paste onto yourself, like, what you see, just so you can fit in.
Yeah, and like this like fear to be different. Um, like if you're different, that's fire, dude. Like why would you want to be like everybody else?
And I think that's why I love fashion so much is, like, because so many it's
Expression,
you can express yourself so many different ways.
right?
And if you're really into fashion, like, you get supported by this community that just, like, embraces how different you are and how different your fashion is. But if you're outside of that community, then yeah, you're gonna be like, "What they're wearing is kinda crazy." But we don't care because in our mind, it's fashion, it's, like, what we like.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, it's crazy. Like sometimes you see like I don't know what the Met galas or what all those like celebrity events, and I guess not so much with the men because they really just like wear like a suit or whatever. But the women, like their dresses sometimes are nuts. Um, uh,
it goes crazy.
yeah, and they have like personal designers. But yeah, that's really interesting. Like how you dress allows you to express yourself, and and other people see how you dress, and maybe they get like a certain idea about you.
That was
Um,
definitely, like, a first step of, like, me, like, being confident in myself because I would have these crazy outfit ideas, but I'm like, "I can't wear this in public. I can't wear
yeah,
this neon orange pants in public. They're gonna think I'm crazy."
yeah,
But then I'm all like, "You know what? Let them think I'm crazy. I am
of
crazy."
course, hell yeah, and that's freaking awesome. Like that's gonna set you apart. If you're gonna do it on your own and nobody likes you because you're crazy, then so be it.
Yeah,
So
so
be it.
be it.
Because this might be super cliche, but it's like if you aren't crazy in your own way, you're gonna end up in terms of like relationships, like friendships and whatnot. You're gonna end up meeting people that aren't you. And if you are yourself, even if that's really eccentric, like the people that you meet will be like you, and that's a
Yeah.
lot more.
You you attract what you are, you know?
Exactly,
And so if you're
exactly.
different, if you're out there, then you're gonna attract different and out there.
Yeah, and that's back to the whole social media thing. Like, I feel like all the people that post the BLM and just all the time trying to be a social justice warrior. Obviously, they're all very left, progressive, and me too, very progressive. I just think, I just feel like those people are so young. You got to be doing something else with your life. That's my opinion. It's not all politics. I feel like we're in a crucial point in our lives where we need to discover ourselves, and you're not going to find that by being a political activist at 15. Is that maybe that's a little controversial? I don't know, but I feel like you could do something better. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, but for you it's different. For you it's different because you've been student body president. You're in a sorority. You're a person that literally does this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a communications major. This is what you do. I'm just saying in terms of the trend of it.
That
That's it. So don't get
yeah.
it twisted.
I
You do
think
need people.
that's better worded, like the
Yeah.
trend
Okay. I'm
and
sorry. I'm
how
sorry. I
just
went a little
people
crazy.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
because what you said, like 15-year-olds, like I think it's valid, like their opinion, because it's definitely
Oh
their
yeah.
future. Like it's like if they want to be politically active, then so be it, because it's definitely where you're gonna grow up in,
I'm
and you're
sorry if I
definitely
came off
shaping
a
your
little
world.
strong.
Let's just revise that real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just yeah,
Let's go back. Please correct
the
me. That's important. We do. Yeah. Okay.
the
Sorry. Continue.
trend definitely yes, I can definitely get behind that, and how that definitely hurts the movement, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, definitely everybody's voice got to be heard, however you want to say that. And somebody has to be the voice. Somebody's got to push it. I just feel like maybe it's because of how controversial our time is now, but it's just like how it's taken control of people's lives. That's it. So if you're gonna like, it's important that you do it. Just don't let it control your life. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Like that's not everything there is to it, I guess. Um, but yeah. Damn, I woke up this morning and it was like they called the election. I was like, let's go.
No.
This shit had
I
me
was
so
I was
stressed.
I was working, and so when the announcement came on, like I was still working, so I didn't
Yeah,
know until like an hour, 2 hours later that Joe Biden had won.
that's probably a
But like
sigh of
we were
relief.
all like turn in work, we were like, yes, Joe Biden.
And I guess this is something interesting that I could definitely talk to someone like you about. Um, Probably like 2 months ago. Okay, so I used to be really into politics. I used to love it. And then I was like, it's kind of not good for me. I guess it's not good. I don't think it's good for anyone to get too into politics. Because it's just like it's a dirty game, I guess.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I started saying like, oh, obviously, like I would rather have Biden win, but it's like whoever wins, I guess it is what it is. Uh, I didn't really get how serious it was. Like if you vote for whoever, like I don't really care, and I still don't. But I didn't understand how important it was for like Trump to lose, I guess. And I watched
Mhm.
Immigration Nation, and I was like, bruh, 4 more years of this, I don't know. Like I know friends that literally would not have parents if this dude was still president. And that's like,
Yeah.
that hits deep, especially living here. Like, I guess if you live like in the South or something, you're not really aware of that. Like living here, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, you can't have that anymore. Uh,
Yeah, it's
you definitely know people that have like immigrant parents or whatever.
yeah, and my parents are immigrants too, so it's definitely hits home, because I've seen so many people suffer because of probably laws set in place or things said about our culture and where we come from.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, if the president said that, he's sort of like the leader, sort of
Mhm.
what everybody looks up to. So like you're gonna take his word for it.
Yeah.
And so when you see a Latinx person just walking down the street, you're automatically gonna think that. Or you're automatically gonna be like, yeah, you're just gonna think
For
what you've
sure.
heard.
Like a stereotype.
Definitely a stereotype.
And it's kind of scary that everybody like just instantly believes him like that. Like he'll be like, this election was won with fraud, and now everybody thinks it's fraud. But I'm convinced if he wouldn't have said anything, nobody would have thought it was a cheat. Um,
Yeah, it's definitely that position of power.
yeah,
That's so
and
crazy
influence.
how
Yeah,
yeah.
doesn't have to provide any evidence, nothing. Just gotta say it. And
Mhm.
that's scary. That's what I think is like toxic about it. That you can say anything and people are just like, okay, I
Yeah,
guess.
just blindly go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like also the whole American idea is that you can literally do anything and
The
you gotta like
American
work
dream.
hard.
Yeah.
And people don't like there are literally people that immigrate from Central America, like Panama or something, walking and getting buses and just having to find people selling everything they own to be able to get over the border. And
Some people
search of a better
and
life, and like that's you're gonna put a bad image on that. I don't get it. I don't get it.
like
I don't get it.
some people really don't understand how much someone has to be suffering to leave their homeland to go to a different land where they don't speak the language, they don't know who the people are over there, they don't know anyone, and just start over from zero, leave your family behind, leave everything you know behind. Like that is
And if it
such a big
frustrates you, like it's even a compliment to America that people want to come here.
yeah,
Um,
like that is was the land of the free.
Facts. If anything, there should be like an easier path to citizenship or something.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I that might sound controversial coming from
yeah,
a Latinx person, but definitely like if it's illegal to get here that way, then it shouldn't be done. But there has to be a faster, more affordable way to get here safely.
yeah.
Like that is the only trade-off that I can accept, like
Yeah, and they're gonna be like I feel like this is an issue with more than immigration. Like for example, I'm not passionate about it, but I guess I also have strong feelings about like addiction and how like legislature handles drugs, for example.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to like immigration, uh, damn, where was I going with this? It's just a lot deeper than just immigrating legally or illegally. Sometimes you don't have a choice and you're literally just coming for a better life. Are there some bad apples? Yeah, there's some bad apples in every community.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
and
you like how we think of immigration and we automatically think of Mexico. Like that's what comes up to my mind. And that
yeah,
is such a horrible thing to like connect it to because there's immigration from everywhere
oh
and
yeah,
just
not
having
just like
that
Latin American countries.
yeah, exactly. And I just feel like it's been so connected and linked to Latin America that
It's
people
become like a
automatically
stereotype,
yeah,
and that's
assume
bad.
that people are immigrating, yeah.
But that's that's another thing. How it seems like such an easy problem to fix. Like, oh, if you came illegally, that's bad. And if you came legally, that's good. Um, like it's a lot more complex than that. And
Yeah, sometimes
it's like
people do not have a choice.
it's like with
It's
drugs.
literally death or
Yeah,
coming here.
yeah. Some people can't go back. But it's like with drugs. Like we just think, oh, you're an addict. Like we'll put you in jail. It's like it's much easier to let's say put an addict in rehab and then turn him back into like a normal functioning person. Same with an immigrant. Like it's a lot easier to give them an easier path to citizenship so that they can become a functioning member of society, live here legally and work and pay a house and raise kids, and to just deport them. Like, and if
Yeah.
you're so like big on the economy, the more the better, literally. Uh,
That's that can be two sides of the coin. Like
mhm.
the more that you can save on the economy in prison, like and not having
Yeah.
prison inmates, but it's also like what if you want prison inmates, like those big corporations that like profit off of prisons and how much prisoners they have. So,
I'm not very educated on that, but like
okay.
how the whole like jail system's like privatized. But do you know more on that? So you can definitely talk about that.
I definitely got into it like a while back, but it's just such a crazy idea that like prison systems want to profit off of the prisoners that are there. And that's why most of the drugs are not legalized. Marijuana is not legalized because they want to keep them in there. They gain more money from it. And also addictions, how you said, it's easier for them to gain a profit with them having them in prison than for them to go to rehab.
But see how like doing things for money just we lose our humanity.
Yeah, definitely. It
Uh
it definitely corrupts
yeah,
us. Money definitely
for sure.
can.
I mean, Nevada legalized weed, and that shit been going crazy. Like the weed industry here, like dispensaries are huge, huge.
Yeah.
It's brought so much. Hopefully, eventually, like that tax money or whatever gets put to education and better things.
Hopefully,
But
maybe, yeah, because so
it's
far they haven't used
like
it for that.
they still make money legalizing it. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
um, Oregon decriminalized drugs, and they're gonna use the fines that they get from like catching people that like possess drugs. They're gonna use that to fund rehabilitation, and that's so much better, in my opinion.
That that's a great plan. That's a plan that's like, thought out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you tell a person that they can't do that, then that makes them want to do it even more.
Especially
So
with young people.
yeah, definitely with us.
Yeah. So, but see, it looks like we're going forward. You know, uh, some states are still like doing abortion laws. Like I'm pretty sure Louisiana had a made abortion illegal again on the ballot this year, and then there are states like Oregon that are just doing super progressive things. Like Nevada became the first state to like officially protect same-sex marriage, I think,
In the
in their
Constitution, yes.
constitution. Like that's awesome, and the vote won by like 67%, which is awesome because, for example, only 50% of Nevadan voters voted for Biden, but 67% voted for protecting same-sex marriage. So that means a little bit of both sides are, moving
And
forward.
that
And
shows
that's,
you like that
yeah,
we kind of have like the same ideals, like no
definitely
matter who you went for during this election.
we can find that middle ground and we can move forward.
Yes.
Uh, this, I think we're gonna end it there because I feel like if we go on for too much, it's just gonna either get too controversial or just talk about nothing. But that's a good note to end it on. Definitely a hopeful conversation to see how, topics that may seem bad, it's not like the end of the world, there's
Mm.
solutions and we're going to be the ones that find them. So,
I definitely believe that.
oh yeah,
You just have to keep in mind that we're all humans.
yeah,
We're all living in this simulation.
oh yeah, the simulacra. Come
Yes.
on. Yeah, just get our humanity back. Not, not worry about money or gain or anything like that. So,
That's where we're
thank
gonna
you for
find the
coming
true
on.
happiness.
Thank
Yeah,
you
of
for coming
course.
on.
Thank you for having me. This was
Yeah,
super fun. I love this.
yeah. This was different because you're the first kind of guest that guys, I knew who she
Yes,
was, but I had never really talked to her.
yes. We just
Um,
know a mutual friend, and that's how
yeah,
this happened.
yeah,
But it
like
went
my,
really well. It went
yeah,
really well.
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like these sort of podcasts literally prove you can talk to anybody. We just don't do it. Like we're just so scared, but it literally proves it. You can talk to anybody about anything. Yeah, and this was awesome. So yeah, we're gonna end it there. Thank you to everybody who watched. Like, subscribe, keep hyping it. It's been going really well. This podcast has been doing a lot. Like I've been receiving support that I did not expect, and I'm so grateful for that. Which is why I'm going to keep pumping episodes. I'm trying to get bigger guests, and I'm working on that. So going to be more enjoyable for you guys. And yeah, thank you for what you brought to the table today. That was awesome, and I think people would learn a lot from this. So,
Thank you.
all right, peace and love, y'all.